What's up, everybody? Rick Coffman, number 3 on the ballot for sheriff in Laurel County, coming to you. We're doing a live video today, and I am going over the podcast with John Root and Robbie Grimes. I had some things that I like to call out and address. I've been trying to do some podcasts, but you know what? I guess I'll just do my own podcast. But let me see here. I just want to make sure I got everything going and I can see the comments and see people in here. All right, I'm not going to wait 10 minutes to get started. So I'm going to get right into it. I want to talk about the No Sugar podcast, man. I love them guys, and I love what they're doing. They're doing a great job, but I think maybe they got the name of their show just a little bit wrong there, because it was totally sugar-coated. No Facebook Live, okay, and control questions, little kiss button and all that, and I get it. I'm not knocking Jericho. I'm not knocking you guys or anything, but just to let you guys know that maybe you might just want to change the name of that. Let's see here. Pulling it up so I can see. We've got a few people dropping in here. So I'm just going to get right into it, man. I watched that podcast and I made a whole bunch of notes, and I'm going to go over my notes and address my concerns. So buckle up, buttercups. We're about ready to go for a ride. Let's see. I'm just going to start. I made notes from the beginning all the way down to the end, so I'm just going to roll right through it. I noticed with on both of their podcasts, they made it like a huge thing to make a big point that they all got deep roots in the county. They're from the county. They've been there their whole life. So I get it. I don't know if that was like an insinuation that I'm not from the county, because I'm not from Laurel County. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, but I've lived all over. I lived in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Indiana, Ohio, California. I was born in Georgia. So I've been everywhere, man. And let me tell you, there's no place like Laurel, Kentucky. I will tell you that. I do have roots as far as, in the 90s, man. I've been coming there to Laurel Lake. My brother's got a boat over at one of the boat storage places. You might see him cruising around with a little Tasmanian devil on the side, and been a big fan of Wildcat Off-Road Park in my previous business. Used to go attend a lot of events and promote the events and be involved in the events. So I do have a little bit of ties to Laurel County, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, the biggest thing that is an advantage to you guys is the fact that I'm not from Laurel County. I don't have any ties to the area whatsoever. I'm not in any groups. I don't know any businesses, and I don't really care about any of that. I've suffered my own injustices, so that is going to actually give me all the reason to nitpick all I want. I've been robbed from over $1 million, illegally kicked off my property, at the sheriff's office threatened to arrest me when I'm trying to file complaints with them. They put me on, tried to throw me in prison for 1 to 5 years for a crime that never even happened. And they never even questioned me or did anything like that. And, I was threatened with disorderly conduct for trying to file complaints, not against them, but complaints against the person committing all the felonies against me. So I go try to get help from the sheriff's office. What do? They running my ID and trying to arrest me. So I say all that for this point of, I'm not really from the area, but I've moved to the area. I've invested a lot of money into the area. I plan on living out the rest of my life into the area. I love the area. I've been coming to the area since the 90s. I love Laurel County. I love the people around there. I love the area. Everything's great until I ran into corruption issues. So I'm going to go ahead and point out, I'm going to go through root stuff, and then I'm going to answer questions here towards the end. And so we're just going to take it step by step. Root went over all of his roots that he had. It's funny because if you want to get to the root of the problem in Laurel County, that's another good joke right there, because he's a big part of it. Y'all, the leadership of the county, John Root, Mayor Weddle, Westerfield, these are the people that are your leaders in the county. So when the county has all this turmoil and division, what are you going to blame Bonnie White for it all? Or are you going to blame Facebook because the people actually have a voice? I don't think so. It's the leadership. It's because of the way that they do things, or the way the things are, the way that Doug Harless lost his life, the way me and my family lost our home and our business illegally. If y'all think it's just the London Police Department, you guys are fooling yourself, or you are a fool. So, let me just get through all this stuff, and then we'll get into some questions and all that stuff. His history, man, about fell out of my chair when I heard that he was a used car salesman for a while, because that explained a whole lot for me right there. He went on to say that he doesn't work for nobody during his podcast. And, I guess he's the big man, so I guess he doesn't really work for anybody, even though, come election time, he's a servant of the people. The rest of the time, not so much. So, Mr. Root seems to think that everything is just doing absolutely great in Laurel County. What do you guys think? You think you can barely hear me? How about that? Okay, I forgot to check my microphone. That sound a little bit better? All right, thank you. Oops, sorry. I haven't done lives in a very long time. I used to do a whole lot of lives, so hopefully it will come back to me. But anyway, moving right along. He was asked the question in his 16 years of accomplishments of being sheriff of Laurel County. He said his number one thing that he's done to accomplish, that was the first thing that came to his mind, is posting arrest pics on Facebook. That's after 16 years. That's the one thing he's done. I don't know if he pays attention to our group or anything, but in our group we've ran polls on this, and like 98% of the people don't think it's appropriate to have these pictures, especially if people are considered innocent until proven guilty. If you have like a major news story or something like that, but if somebody gets busted with a DUI or something, and then I'm telling you, I was arrested and put on trial, and my picture was posted, and I never did anything wrong. I am 100% innocent, and I'm a victim. And so I imagine that there's other innocent victims. Actually, I know there are, because during my course of the last year, 2 years, I've been a justice warrior, as I've been referred to. So I've heard many stories from a whole lot of people. But I just want, the one thing that Root's most proud of is the one thing that the constituents of the community, they're not big fans of. Like, for example, people lose jobs. Families are embarrassed. I mean, what's the point of trying to let people know what's going on in their community, is what he said. But when it comes down to it, anytime anything goes on in that department, he ain't telling anybody about what's going on. I don't see, he said that there were pictures of mugshots of people he held accountable. I haven't seen it. But anyway, so the number one thing that your sheriff said he did is having a media guy blasting out pictures. That's what he's most proud of. Number two is an SRT, Special Response Team. Best guys, best equipment. So he's got a bunch of good guys, and I'm sure they're great. I know they got all the best equipment because they save all the money on, simple things like body cams and car cams and things like that. So yeah, but a county of this size, I kind of would expect there to be an SRT team, but, whatever. Honor Guard, that sounds pretty great. Sounds like they do weekly things, and they go to ball games, and they do funerals, which is great. Need to have that service. But, it's just saying that, posting pics, the SRT, the Honor Guard. Number 4 was he saved time with tax paying. So before, he said that you had to come in, and it took a little bit of time to do it. And then I guess in 2010, he came around, that they started implementing computer systems and things like that. So that's number 4 of the things that he said. Number 5, he says drugs, the war on drugs. Thousands of dealers and hundreds of pounds of drugs, and they took over vehicles, and they took over stuff like that. So, I don't know. He's been sheriff for 16 years, and he's most proud of drug dealers. Would you all say that we have a drug problem after him being sheriff for that long? All I see myself personally is a bunch of users repeatedly getting busted over and over and over. I would prefer a war on drugs be more on the people supplying the drugs than the people that are unfortunate to be using them as well. But he did say that war on drugs, fully equipped. Tahoe's 85% of the fleet was bought with drug seized money. 37 Tahoes. And they got all the best equipment. They got drones. They got all this. They got all that. But until the Doug Harless situation happened, they didn't have body cams. And the only reason they have those is pretty much when the Doug Harless situation, the first thing that happened, because of the Justice for Doug group, I'll give credit for that group where credit is due, the fact that there were no body cams on the London Police Department meant that, like, everybody's like, oh my God, it's like the 2020s, man. How did they not? Cops were wearing body cams like 20 years ago. How do they not have them? And then the bigger question would be, why did they not have body cams? Wouldn't that have been a lot easier in the Doug Harley situation, or all these other situations that people talk about? You know, if we pull up body cams and stuff like that, we can either find out if people are innocent, or if we can find out if the cops are doing a bad job and not actually having probable cause, which we'll talk about that here shortly. But anyway, the Tahoes, okay, so most of those vehicles were drug seized money. Tell me why that they don't have cameras on the cars. I mean, again, 20 years ago, cities and other places that have big budgets, you know, he brags about they're the highest paid deputies in the entire state. They got all this money coming in from drug dealers. Why would you not want cameras on the cars? You know, the cameras that do the front, the rear, the driver, and the passenger. I mean, as far as accountability, if I was sheriff and I wanted to check on my deputies, I would be randomly like pulling car cams and body cam footage to see what they're doing, seeing if they're actually working or if they're just hanging out, jacking around, dicking around, as some people like to say. But anyway, so and he also went on to say that Root said during his video that a majority of the people that are county officials, they hate being called a public servant, including a buddy of his that is no longer the public servant. But the people that he hangs with, they don't think of themselves as public servants. You know, you guys are their servants, man. It's bad. Okay. Anyway, he says a lot of and so those were the things that he was most proud of. You know, the Facebook pics and all that. So I have 16 years. I think I could do more in 1 year than he's done in 16 years. But anyway. He says he's vocal about what he thinks people thinks he's vocal. People don't like his answers. That's pretty funny because he doesn't literally answer tough questions. He only answers easy questions. And if you ask him tough questions, then basically he doesn't answer. And I've seen a few posts here lately, some screenshots, so I know it to be fact, of calling people an idiot. You know, people asking him questions about the biggest deal going on in Laurel County, which is the Doug Harley situation. So I think that's, and he calls them haters. You know what haters are? Those are people that ask him questions, and his haters, AKA constituents. So I guess a lot of his constituents he considers haters because he doesn't like answering the questions. But anyway, let's see. He said that he admits that he makes mistakes. He's human, and I get that. He makes mistakes every day. But my question would be, what mistakes have you ever heard that man admit to? I mean, he says he makes them every day. He says he's totally transparent. But I don't really see it, so we'll move on from right there. He went on to talk about he likes these are the big things that are important to the sheriff in the county, none of which were like solving big crimes and doing things like that, but he lets kids hang out. He's put up one blessing box. He has 11 more, but he's too busy with the election to get the other 11 out. So there's that. And this is something that Grimes also touched on: the Boys and Girls Ranch and the Behind the Badge Party. Okay, when I was listening to him, he I guess he had a Behind the Badge Party the very next day after that podcast the other day, and making it sound like it's all about the kids and all that. But when he went on to describe it, he went on to describe the fact that these kids are there, but they have the crime thing where he actually is doing it with the parents to show parents where they hide drugs and all that stuff. So I don't know it. I mean, it doesn't really sound like it was for the kids. Kids might be able to have balloons or something. I don't know what he's doing there. It's not really educational. It sounds more like he's hanging out with the parents. Otherwise, one would almost think that was like using that office to campaign and have all the voters come out, and he's really hanging out with the voters instead of the kids. So that's what he'd rather do than the DARE program, and we'll get into that here in a minute. He said left to do in his term for sheriff. So he wants to use Facebook more. He wants to rebuild trust. He admits that he's lost public trust, and when he gets the public trust back, he said that's when he'll go home. He's let's see. He admits that he has power-hungry deputies and he has bad apples, and talks about public servants and all that, but Have you? I haven't really recall seeing him discipline any officers or anything on the on his page where where anybody gets in trouble. I mean, I seen an arrest picture for somebody doing a donut. Hell, I saw a redneck brawl video where somebody was peeling out in the road and all that stuff. But meanwhile, if you're somebody else, you get arrested for that kind of thing. It's kind of crazy how some people can do things in Laurel County and others. So it's definitely not equal treatment or anything. He said that he doesn't really have to do much if he's unopposed, but if he has observation, then you got to get out there and you got to build a relationship with the public. So I don't know. That statement alone would tell me that maybe he's building a relationship with the public, because he's running for election. I don't know. Let's see. He said he's got an open door policy. He said people come in there all the time and he can't do nothing to help them, but, they get tickled pink because he listens. I've reached out and I know that his girlfriend's had my file, which proves all kinds of felonies and all that, and they didn't really do much to help. I didn't really want to go back in there because every time I've been to the sheriff's department, I was threatened to be arrested, even though yet I've never actually committed any crimes. But anyway, let's see. He said that people are afraid to speak up for John Root, and I don't really buy that. It seems to be like if you oppose John Root, you get attacked. If you oppose Weddle, you get attacked. He said there are sides, and I hear this a lot. It's made out to be all the time like there's two sides in Laurel County. I guess the Weddle side, and then I guess the Root side or the council side. I don't know. I think there's a side that everybody's forgetting about, and it would be the side of the people. And that's what side I'm on. I'm not on Root side. I'm not on Weddle side. I'm not on the council side. I'm not with any families or anything. I was done very unjustly in the county. I have no other interest in doing what I'm doing other than fighting for justice for my family, fighting for justice for Doug, and then the many, 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 many other families that have suffered injustice. People getting pulled over for no reason. People getting targeted. I've heard from women. I have women's text where some of these sheriff's deputies are harassing women through Facebook, trying to get pulled them over to get their number and all that stuff. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Not to mention the things I've heard in the jail. And I could literally tell you probably over almost 1,000 stories of people that have suffered an injustice from this perfect system where nobody does wrong, even though the county is in the news all the time. But that's all Bonnie White's fault, they didn't do anything wrong. Let's see. He says there's the sides, speaking up for signs, said he was accused of, I didn't even think about it until he mentioned it, but I guess there was a sign that had gay, painted on it and all that stuff. And I wouldn't have believed it if it wasn't for the fact there was this one time I woke up one morning and as an admin in the Justice for Laurel County group, somebody had made a post of his fiancee dancing all provocative in a limo bus or something like that. Obviously a private video of somebody close to them. Posted it from a fake profile in our account. I immediately deleted it because I think it's totally inappropriate for anybody to post anything to go after somebody's wife, girlfriend, fiance, kids, or anything like that. However, I started wondering about it, and in my opinion, I would not be surprised if that was done intentionally to try to tick people off. They're just taking a card out of the Weddle playbook right there. They have Weddle's people have people that come into the group and they post comments or they post things, and it would be really bad things that they post or comment, which is not a reflection of our group. It's just a reflection of one comment or one post or one fake profile, which we boot out all those fake profiles and all that, and we took it down. But everything's a political move, and the sign with the gay, if he hadn't made the video or picture and post about it, or also said it on the podcast, I probably would have been like, I wouldn't have thought much about it. But he pointed out the fact that people thought that he did it, and then after the thing with his fiancee, I wouldn't be surprised if he did that for sympathy and then to make people mad and all that. One thing's for sure, nobody that fights for justice would do anything like that. That would be either somebody trying to make somebody look bad and gain sympathy, or, I don't know, Weddle's crew, man. Weddle's got a crew, doesn't he? I mean, man, they just attack. They bully, they lie, they have no facts, they have nothing, they insult, they, role models for young bullies, I guess. But anyway, So, he doesn't really have to do anything if he's unopposed, but he definitely does since there's opposition this time. Let's see, I already covered that. I'm just going to roll right through this for all you out just tuned in. I'm going to do a little Q&A if you're interested at the end, if you have any questions for me, but I'm going to roll through all this because this doesn't only give my opinions on Root, and like I said, I've deserved the right to nitpick after what this county has put me through, so I'm going to nitpick away. He says he wishes that they would ban the signs, but who has the most yard signs out there? I do agree with him. Signs don't vote, or people don't vote for signs, and that's absolutely right. I put a couple out, but I think it's a total waste of money because ours definitely get yanked out, tossed away, and it is a waste of money. Let's see. Throughout his history, one of the things he's most proud about is the interstate shooter, the biggest good thing that he's done. And I've heard that when that happened, he didn't even leave lunch to go to that. Almost same thing like on the Doug Harless situation. Like, if I was your sheriff and an innocent person was murdered in my jurisdiction, I would be getting up out of bed and I'd be first on scene trying to figure out what the heck happened. And he didn't even find out till the next day. He didn't leave the lunch on the shooter. He never even went out there. He just totally took a backseat to the whole thing as top lawman in the county. And then they did the whole week manhunt and all that stuff. And there's such great guys that the guy was right there where they were at the whole time. Probably didn't notice the crows flying around and around and around like those YouTubers did. Wonder if Weddle ever paid out for the rest of that. Let's see. I could say a lot more on that, but that could be a whole nother video. Let's see. He makes it like you're a problem if you have a different opinion, like if you have red or blue or something like that. No, it's we're calling out corruption. We're calling out things that are wrong with the community. And he calls us idiots, and he doesn't answer any questions, and he doesn't ever admit to any mistakes, so I don't really understand any of that. He goes on to rolling his eyes at some political guru. So I don't know. He needs to be more specific on who the political guru is, whether it's, am I the political guru, or is it that Melissa, whatever her last name is, I don't know. I'm totally confused on that right now. Is she the political guru? Because I know that Weddle's people definitely does not like Root at all. Makes you wonder, because Weddle and Root used to be best of buddies. The deputy that was behind most of the problems in my situation was Deputy Austin Weddle, mayor's nephew. He shortly after the Doug Harless situation with his own gripes, does not work for the sheriff's department. Grimes, from what I understand, he was a major, and so he was second in charge, and from what a lot of people have told me is that he was actually the guy running the sheriff's department. So when the Doug Harless situation happened, I was told that Root was just going through some things, and I don't know, an absentee sheriff right there, and Grimes ran everything. But now Grimes and Root have a big falling out, and there's a big thing about Root trying to get him fired. They both say something different in each of their podcasts, so one of them's not quite telling the truth right there. As far as the KSP investigation to Doug Harless, Root said he fully supports and is behind that. It was a good investigation. I don't know if he's seen the files. Many of us have seen the files since, and there's a lot of questions that weren't asked. Only pictures of a few of them. The numbers were well lit, but they couldn't see the numbers under a huge light, but they can see a gun inside, and the whole procedural thing and the rush. And my biggest thing over that is, isn't that excessive force to take 9 people out at almost midnight on Christmas Eve, getting ready to be Christmas Eve anyway? That seems like excessive force. That's like a little bit worse than getting beat up on the side of the road. He got killed over a damn weed eater. And if I was the sheriff, I'd be investigating if there was constitutional violations, because that's a felony. I don't even give a crap if somebody would prosecute it or not. If there's something I can make an arrest for and I have evidence for it, I'd be making an arrest. The prosecutors can answer for why they don't prosecute. Same thing with the gray machines. We'll talk about that in a second. He didn't go to the house. He did admit that LPD came out regularly. He said that, when he goes to other counties and all that stuff, that they always give the courtesy of giving a heads up when they come into the county and all that stuff. But he said as long as he was lawman, that it never really was that way with the London Police Department. But I can assure you, if I was sheriff of the area, and I wouldn't want a bunch of rogue officers, especially ones with a bad reputation, because it's not like this Doug Harless situation is the only thing that is questionable with the London police. I mean, there's NCIC database problems. There's, I don't know, there's all kinds of problems, man. You know, people, probable cause, out of jurisdiction. Hell, I heard one the other night. London police did another late night warrant, 10 or 11 o'clock, on this lady. She called and told me that her son is out on bail, and they came there to arrest him, but he was out on bail. So they came out, disrupted the whole family, late at night, screwed up again. Just absolutely ridiculous that they make more mistakes than they get things right. And I personally think, and this is with all the law enforcement, I think that they break more rules and policies than they do get them right. But anyway, so Root never even bothered to get involved. He didn't get involved. Let's see. He said about the whole Doug Harless situation. And if y'all don't believe me, y'all can just go back and watch this video. What made him the most mad and the most frustrated out of the entire Doug Harless situation was that the public has lost faith in law enforcement. No, it wasn't that an innocent man was killed in his jurisdiction. For all we know, Doug Harless might have actually even voted for that guy, for Root and all that stuff. And he just really didn't seem to care, you know. So that's what he was most mad about. He wasn't mad about the loss of life or anything like that. Let's see. People complain on not taking... somebody was saying that in the podcast that there are cops out there, or deputies, and ring in the comments if you've heard of any of this, but there's cops that won't take insurance pictures off of phones, which is totally illegal. He said it was. He said he had no clue. Of course, they don't actually take complaints. I mean, when I went in there, I was getting threatened to be arrested for disorderly conduct, which, again, is why I have the right to nitpick every little thing I want to. But they didn't take complaints on other people. Mine was going to be a complicated investigation, and I don't think they do complicated investigations. I think they just pass it off. It'll not me, not my problem, even though it's their job. But anyway, let's see. He said, yeah, they never had to notify the sheriff's office. And then, I don't know. As sheriff, I'd be pretty pissed off if a 9-person... Of course, they didn't look like SWAT team. They looked like a bunch of thugs in some Amazon camouflage gear. I mean, I don't know what you need camouflage gear for for serving a warrant over a weed eater, nor do I understand 9 people. But I, as a citizen of the United States, I'm totally pissed off about the Doug Harless, as many as others. You know, I'm pretty pissed off about my situation. But I will be avenged, and I will get my stuff back. I will recover. I will be able to move on with my life. Doug Harless, unfortunately, can't. So his situation is a bigger deal, and I almost care just as much, if not more, for justice for him. And then I've even heard of a few other people losing their lives, suicides, where the gun's in another room. And man, I'm not even going to get into all the stories that I've heard. And many of them people don't want me to tell them because they would identify who they are. But I have video, body cam footage, pictures, screenshots out the yin yang, and so I do have permission to drop some out. So maybe I will pretty soon. But he did encourage people to have the right to protect themselves and their property. He admitted he'd come with 2 guns, and he's a big believer of the Second Amendment. However, when I had people threatening my life on my property, and the sheriff's department came out, and it wasn't just Deputy Weddle. During my experience with the sheriff's department, I think I met about every damn deputy there was, and they're all about the same. I think maybe because I was recording them, why they was violating my rights. I don't know, but it was my house, my property. People were threatening me, and they let them break in doors and take stuff, told me to write it down and do it later. And I'm going to address it real quick. Did anybody really think I'm full of crap on what happened to me? Do you think I would be doing this justice group? Do you think I would be if I was guilty? No, I am totally innocent. That's why I fight for justice. I'm for the people. Let's see. He admitted he's had hot-headed deputies that just like to knee-jerk react and go out immediately, why he doesn't believe they should be served right at night. He said one of them is currently, I guess, gaining employment at the London police officer. So, he's had He's had deputies he admit that are hot-headed, knee-jerk. He's admitted that during the video they had bad apples and things like that. Matt Walker was brought up. I'd like to know more about that story of that, in case any of you might have any clue to what somebody was bringing to Matt Walker. I think the people have a right. You know, the government, we should know everything about them and everything of what they do. They shouldn't know anything about what we do. Hey, by the way, if you want to help me out here, share this out to a few places. Share it on your profile in the Laurel County groups and all that. I think a lot of people will want to hear this stuff and need to hear it. I know Roots people aren't going to like to hear it, and a lot of the government people, there's probably about 10% of the whole entire county probably just hate everything I'm doing. They hate the justice group. They hate everything because we're causing them problems. But I guess that's what the one advantage of social media these days is, giving a voice to the people. And that's what we absolutely need. Let's see. I will check in with the comments, but man, it'd be hard for me to get through all this. I'm blowing through it pretty quick. So, like I said, here in a minute, for those who are watching, I'll do a little Q&A here in a minute. And I'll even tell you about things that I wouldn't mind doing differently if I was elected. In case any of y'all didn't know, Rick Coffman, number 3 on the ballot. Let's see. He's complaining about hurt people call out and hurt other people. No, hurt people call out their injustices and their stories. So John Root just doesn't even care about all the people that have been damaged. Their lives have been damaged. They're set back. Their families are hurting. It doesn't matter to him. He just doesn't like to hear anything, but all the people around him do that. I guess he must have a lot of yes man people around him. So, you know, they say hurt people, but I say victims are calling out for help. So far in history, including myself, my situation happened almost a year before the Doug Harless situation, and nobody would give me the time or day or anything. Of course, it wasn't as serious because I didn't lose my life, but I did lose a multi-million-dollar business, $1 million worth of assets, and a property that I just built a 9,000 square foot building on, and that should have never happened. But nobody really cared. I couldn't get the time of day. But I will agree that it's a lot more worthy when somebody loses their life for the justice to stand up. And that quick little history lesson, that's exactly what the Justice for Laurel County group, when everything happened with justice for what happened to Doug Harless, I started calling out my situation on there. Not that I was trying to take over, get everybody. I just hey, that's not the only problem in this county. There are other problems. And then they respectfully asked me to maybe start my own group and do that. And that made total sense, because the Justice for Doug group should be everything pertaining to the Justice for Doug Harless. I totally respect that. And what the Justice for Laurel County group is, it's not an open public forum for people to yell at each other and all that stuff. It is for people to have a voice. People can post anonymously, because we all know that Laurel County, the people in charge, have been silencing people for years, more than silencing them. There might even be some questions of whether or not Doug was somebody who got silenced. I mean, we have every reason to speculate everything. You know why? Because there's no transparency. There's no proper investigation. Everything points to a cover-up. And, don't even get me started. I tell you, the Doug Harless situation almost makes me even more mad than my own, because I will recover. But he can't, and his family can't, and that's the same. Let's see. Root and Grimes say completely different things about Grimes' employment. Y'all ever catch that? Root says it's been a policy forever, and that's how it's been. Grimes is saying that, in January, council passed a new ordinance, whatever you want to call it, and got him fired. They both can't be telling the truth, so one of them's lying, so I didn't know. I didn't pay attention to any of that when Grimes was when all that happened with Grimes. But it sounds fishy, does it not? I don't know. Anyway, Grimes did say a previous sheriff did the same thing that he was trying to do. So Grimes said that there was another sheriff that worked for the sheriff's department that quit working for the sheriff's department, because it's totally logical that you wouldn't run against your boss, but that you could go over to London Police Department and all that. So I think more people should dig into finding out what that's about. Either way, and I hear Grimes is a really nice guy, loves horses, cowboy, and all that stuff. And he has been running the sheriff's department for a while. but he was running the sheriff's department when my situation happened. So I can honestly say I probably should be more ticked off at Grimes than Root, because Root wasn't really being sheriff. He held the badge and he got the paycheck. But from what I understand, Grimes was pretty much running the show. And I'd still like to know what happened between, he's his major. He's his right-hand man. And now they're not so much friends. And Weddle and Root used to be friends, and they're not. And he admitted himself that there are different sides. So if you want somebody to really come in there and fix things, you're not going to find somebody on one of the sides that's going to fix it, because the other side's going to be fighting them the whole time. So you need to, if y'all really want change, you're going to need all new leadership. You're going to need a new sheriff. You're going to need a new judge executive. And you need a new mayor. And you definitely want to make sure none of Weddle's people get into council. I haven't seen any corruption. I've heard city council's bad all the time. I haven't seen anything, no. I've seen things on Root. I've seen things on Weddle. Weddle, you can tell when that man's lying when his lips are moving. But anyway, so got that problem. Let's see. Root goes on to say you can't get good people to run because of all this BS. Well, his people are giving me my fair share of BS. So it's funny because, people in power, a lot of times they're narcissists, so they're guilty of what they accuse people of. So you watch that, especially with Weddle. When he accuses somebody, you might as well just point that finger right back at him. But he's right. I think that's what's happening to our country today. You get a bunch of narcissist people that have no empathy for anybody. They smear campaign people. They attack people. Good, honest people just don't do that kind of stuff. I'm not smearing anybody. Smearing is making up stuff that's not true to make them look bad. I'm talking about, these are facts. What happened to me is facts. What happened to Harless is facts. Ask his family. These are all facts, and all he cares about is how the people don't like the cops as much, is what makes him so mad. I can't believe why anybody would vote for that guy. Or Westerfield. That's the other problem I run into, by the way, is, as long as I'm fighting over Weddle, I got all these other people that like me. But then when I start calling out the people that they support, they don't like me anymore. So it's okay to go after this one person, but if you go after somebody I'm friends with, I don't like you anymore. No. You know what that's up with me, y'all? I'm against all corruption. I don't care what color it is. I don't care who it is. I don't care family. I don't care council. I don't care if it's mayor. I don't care Westerfield. And nobody in their right mind can listen to that Westerfield call and tell me he's not as crooked as they come. And then, of course, don't keep in mind, the county has gone to crap. It's the leaders that made it go to crap. All the LPD, I look more upon the leaders, Root, the Westerfield, the police, the mayor. It's more of their responsibility what happened. Those boys, those children, my kids are older than these damn cops. That makes me feel real old. They're just doing what they're told, what they're trained to. So I personally feel, now, and including lying and covering up and maybe carrying a plant a gun. That's what they all do. But anyway, stay back on track right here. Moving right along. How am I doing? I haven't done a live in a long time, and the lives I used to do were Whiskey Wednesdays and Thirsty Thursdays. They involved a lot of alcohol, music, and giving away stuff and off-road. This isn't as much fun as that, but it needs to be done. Apparently, there's nobody on the people side speaking out for the people. You got Melissa, whatever her last name is, she's out there. Well, y'all want to guess who she supports? And then these podcasts, which I'm not knocking the podcast people, other than No Sugarcoat, you might want to change the name of it to Extra Sugar. Because your show's great. I love it. Might even still come on their show, unless y'all going to treat me with sugar like that? Of course, I'd rather be asked the hard questions, which we'll do if any of y'all are still in here in a minute. I am taking questions at the end. So just give me a minute to get through this. Okay. Root is such an old school guy that he's even out of touch. There was somebody there and there, this girl Natasha was asking about whether a animal got dropped off at a kill shelter or something like that. I don't know. And I don't know the story behind that. But I did notice that somebody who's calling him out for something, he's calling her honey. This isn't 1955, you all. You don't do that anymore. If you were to call his employees honey, that's called sexual harassment these days. And the rules are the rules. That's just how it is. Let's see. He was asked the biggest rumor that he had. I guess he just settled with that he was gay because that was on the sign. It's not the biggest rumor I've heard about him and Weddle. I'm not going to say the biggest rumor that I've heard here publicly. If anybody wants to call it out into the comments, I mean, by all means. But I've heard a lot worse rumors than that he's gay. So what do y'all think the biggest rumor of John Root is? Drop it in the comments. What do y'all think the biggest rumor of Mayor Weddle is? Drop it in the comments. All right. Hold on. I'm going 100 miles an hour. I need a little sip. Drop some hearts if you think I'm doing all right. Share it, share it. Sharing is caring, y'all. A little hot in here. I had to turn off my air conditioning so you wouldn't hear how loud it was. He talked about the NCIC investigation, misuse by LPD. So he's pretty much throwing the LPD under the bus. I think that's going to be another problem, is that you have a sheriff's department that is obviously at war with the police department. So I think maybe we should just clean house on both and start over. Drop some hearts if y'all think that we should do that. Yeah, Bonnie knows a few of the rumors. I see you over there, Bonnie. Let's see. And then he made it this big, I don't know why he did this, but he made sure to tell everybody that the only person that's responsible, it was the person that's logged in. So I guess if you illegally accessed it yourself, you're not getting in any trouble. It seems to me like if you stuck on somebody's computer while they were taking a pee break and you ran something, you should still get in trouble. But you know how they do accountability in Laurel County anyway. So anyway, let's see. What else we got? Oh, the gray machines. Okay. All I've heard with the gray machines are excuses, excuses, excuses. They won't prosecute. Okay. If I'm sheriff, I'm pretty sure I have to take this oath that I'm going to uphold the laws and the Constitution. So if somebody's breaking the law, I'm going to arrest. If the prosecutors don't prosecute, then they're going to have to explain why they don't prosecute. But it would be my duty, if somebody is breaking the law, to prosecute them. And so he says that he didn't do it. But yet, ask Jeannie. Jeannie's son was arrested and targeted, but the place across the street wasn't. So, call bullshit on all that. But hey, you know what? He said on that sugar-coated podcast with all that extra sugar on there, hey, he didn't take any money. So I guess that's it, you know. I don't know if people were expecting him to be like, okay, yeah, I was taking a bunch of money. Okay. Anyway, I think he's full of crap, and I'm calling him out, and I don't care what anybody thinks about it. Like I said, I've been to 15 court dates for a crime that never happened, and I wasn't even questioned for, and I didn't even get the accusations against me till 6 court dates in. So it's not just law enforcement. The courts are pretty crooked as well. Let's see. Covered that. Said he didn't make money, so he must not. I heard he got a pretty nice house, though. This one I really love. Body cams are the most useful, but yet they didn't have them until the public demanded them. And that's I'd say the only change that I've seen come about that actually happened for the Doug Harlow situation is they're all wearing body cams. So, you know, our Justice Fighting and our Justice Warrior stuff and the Justice for Doug group, shout out to them. I'll totally give them credit. They're wearing body cams now. And them having to wear them body cams is a huge reduction on what's gone on. There's not near as many people beat all to hell after they got cuffed in the mugshots. Y'all remember that a couple years ago? Everybody beat all to hell. See, I'm not from here for my whole entire life, so I've been in other places where, like Lexington, when they pull somebody over in the big, crazy town of Lexington, it's like one cop, and nobody gets beat up. And they're actually kind of cool, respectful, constitutional. But you guys are from here, so you don't know that it's different in other places. I get that. Even the deputies, I get it. Somebody told me that. Say, you know what? The deputies just think that what they're doing is right because that's all they've ever seen their whole life. Well, if you had the pleasure of living in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, or I'm from Lexington most of my life, so I am from Kentucky more than anywhere else. You'll see that everything that goes on in Laurel doesn't go on in these other counties. And coincidentally, these other counties are not in the news every day like Laurel County is. Is anybody connecting any dots here? You know, leadership, problems, law enforcement, courts. I mean, why do we have to fight for justice? Shouldn't we just actually get justice? So no cams in the vehicle, but they have drones, and they have these new $6,000 drug test machines that are highly inaccurate. I just seen a post where they're boasting on Clay County News. I saw in Laurel County a picture of this guy. And you know what? It kind of looked like he'd have drugs. But if somebody's driving down the road and looks like they have drugs, you can't just search them. You know, it's the Constitution. If you have to commit a felony to bust somebody for a smaller crime, I don't think that wouldn't happen if I'm sheriff. I guarantee you that. I'd be watching body cams myself, just spot body camming. I wouldn't even have to ride with them. I just randomly pull their body cams on stops. Anybody that had excessive force, I'd be running the body cam to see what they're doing there. But we'll talk about what I'll do here in a second. He got hit with the question, do you all have a compliance officer? He acted like he never heard of that. He probably don't know what compliance is. But anyway, let's see. Okay, sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. I maybe been able to be a doctor. Let's see. Got to follow policy. I don't know. I'm just making notes. He started talking about how all the deputies have to follow policy, so I wrote a few of these down. Sorry, it took me a minute to figure out what I was trying to tell myself about here. But I'm like, follow policy. Why don't you talk about probable cause? Why don't you, or pressing charges without even questioning? Like me, I went to 14 court dates. They even upgraded charges at one time, even though there was no evidence of a crime. I was never questioned. Does that sound like fair police work? You're going to go off the word of a liar, a proven liar who constantly has a different story all the time, and there's no evidence, and her story doesn't even make sense, and you're not even going to question me, and I get arrested twice for the same thing? Yeah, I don't like going to jail for when I didn't commit a crime. I apologize that I'm just not so ready to go to jail every time I'm falsely accused of something. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting a little mad there. And following policy, here's a big one. And nowhere in John Roo's video they talk about civil rights or the Constitution or any of that stuff. Biggest thing to work on is public trust. And okay, well, if you want to work on public trust, you need to start working on constitutional. And man, he is not a constitutional sheriff. He never mentioned the Constitution. His deputies are perfect. They don't ever do anything wrong. Even though he said they did anything wrong, but he still didn't really admit it. On to the next one, and I think I'm almost about through this stuff. I did watch the city council meeting if y'all want to talk about that too. But anyway, Robbie Grimes liked the DARE program, and John Root dissed the DARE program. And on the show, even one of the guys on the show didn't even know what it was. So I'm imagining John Root probably just discontinued the DARE program himself. And even though it's a still active program, he says it's outdated, and he was dissing a national program that Nancy Reagan put in 1983. And I don't know, did any of you all do DARE? I did DARE, and I remember it. It was probably the first time I got my breakdown of drugs, what they are, what they do to your body. I think smoking cigarettes was involved. Maybe that was health class. I don't know. But they want to do these little boys and girls camps or the behind the badge, where they have parents bring out the kids and he campaigns to the parents pretty much. And then they just want to, so that's illegal campaigning, man, using that sheriff's office. Yeah, he uses them vehicles. He breaks every damn campaign thing there is. I myself, in Woodford County, I printed the DARE shirts for the previous 10 years before I moved to Lilly. So that program is still an active program. Woodford County uses it. And I want to ask you a question. Or he says he can't make he's got excuses. He's got so many excuses of why he can't do anything. Oh, I can't make the school board do this. I can't make the school board do that. Well, I mean, he is a pretty powerful man, so, and he was a used car salesman, so, why don't you break out some salesmanship skills? I would love to go to the schools. You want to know what I think the best thing about the DARE? He says it's outdated because there's more drugs today. I don't know. There was crack in the 80s. I think crack's actually worse than meth. I don't know. But I imagine that they update the program as the years go on. But I want to ask you a question. Do you think it's more beneficial to have this little boys and girls retreat where a small, limited amount of people actually get to go to it for a behind the badge or for a whatever you call it, a ranch or whatever? Okay, that's almost like his policing. Only a few of the select people will get the benefit of that. But meanwhile, the rest of the people are left out. Or would you rather have the DARE program? The DARE program, if it was constituted in, or whatever, instituted into the school system, and I don't see why the school system would object to it. That's every single student. I can't remember what grade it is, but there's one grade that they do the DARE program each year. In that grade, they talk about drugs, drug uses, what to do if you come across it. It's introduction to sheriff's deputies, to the kids, to the public. I just can't, I don't see why he would just diss a program like that actually includes every single kid. Maybe it's because he wants to have drones and $6,000 other things rather than buy all shirts. Because, Woodford County was a small county, and I think they did spend about $5,000 or $6,000 a year on T-shirts. It'd probably be like $20,000 a year. But that's a pretty small price to pay to educate every damn kid in the entire county. I mean, there's 62,000 people in the county. So, I don't know. There's got to be, 10, 15,000 kids, including in that? I don't know. Drop some hearts if y'all think the DARE program should be instituted. Let's see. Grimes said, now Grimes pointed out a few things that he's basically saying Root does not do. So, it's not me saying this. Grimes did. Grimes said, people first is a huge problem. Of course, he said that only since, he's not been in the sheriff's department. But, the people were not first with me, and he was in charge then. Grimes said that Root is not going after dealers, only users. What do you all think? Y'all see a bunch of users getting picked up and people pulled over on these checkpoints, probably illegal checkpoints the way they do it. You're not supposed to have a dog there and ready to go. Now they're giving drug tests. Are you kidding me? The guy got a DUI that said the $6,000 drug test thing. If he got a DUI, wouldn't the breathalyzer have done that? You don't have, never mind. Anyway, major crimes, which I'm taking as require an investigation. I think that's one of the reasons why I got blown off when I went to the sheriff's department. My crimes that I was accusing of the person I'm dealing with of over probably 15 felonies, there's probably 100 man-hours investigation into that, and they're probably, I don't want to do that. So they pick and choose who they investigate for and who they don't. So they didn't want to do the work for me, but London PD, boy, they'll take 9 guys out for a weed eater at 11 o'clock at night. It's ridiculous. Let's see. And Grimes is totally blaming Root for getting fired. So which one? And Root saying that he didn't do it. So you tell me which one was which. But anyway, things that I think they should work about, and I'm almost done, and then I'll take some questions and shoot the crap with you here for a second. But no part during any one of them have they mentioned anything about being constitutional. And that's because they are both unconstitutional. London Police Department, you think the London Police Department is great or bad, and the Sheriff's Department is hunky-dory? No. And the courts, have y'all been in the court system? I mean, if you've been in the court system, how many times did you have to come back to court? Up in Woodford County or Fayette County, because I'm not rooted from here. Yeah, that's a good thing that I'm not rooted from here, because I know that simple, small charges should only be 1 or 2 court dates, not dragged out for a year to where you're willing to take any kind of plea bargain that they throw at you just to say you're guilty, even if you're not, just because you got to live, you got to work, you got to do all this stuff. And then meanwhile, they're blasting you all over. You're supposed to be all over Facebook and all that. And that's his proudest thing. Root, his proudest thing is blasting people's mugshots. Anyway, unconstitutional, no civil rights. Here's a huge one that I hear from probably a lot of the people they pull over. There's no probable cause. Okay? And you know what? They do bust people without the probable cause. But here's my problem, and a lot of cops will give you this argument. They can pull over 10 people, right? 10 people in a row. And suspicious vehicles, older vehicles, don't look as good, paint damage, long-haired people, or this or that, or they don't look like wealthy people driving a $50,000 vehicle. So they target lower-income people, and then 7 of them are totally innocent, but they'll illegally stop 10 people. All right, do you think that it's okay to violate the rights of all 10 people to bust 3 people? What kind of sheriff do you want to have? Do you want to have a sheriff that's going to be constitutional and protect your rights, protect the people? Protect your families. Who cares if somebody got a little pot on them or something like that? You can't break the law to enforce the law. Oh, the towing company. He didn't talk about the towing company. Nobody asked him about the towing company. But, matter of fact, nobody asked him about any of the shark videos. He got pulled over and tased for interfering with the Kentucky State Police charge, the illegal cockfighting, all these things. Has anyone ever heard a response from him other than "you're an idiot"? I've never heard him answer those. I think the people of Laurel County deserve answers, because I know, like, I've had a video or two where something was totally blatantly false posted about me, and I was able to get the video taken down because it's slander. But you can't get a video taken down if it's true. And that's a problem that he's got. And people just don't care. I mean, I can call out 55 things that he does that is totally wrong, and then we can share the one picture of them picking up kids in a line, and then they'll just line up for days calling that out. Which, by the way, you're not supposed to have people that aren't police in the car. It kind of makes sense. I mean, does the Federal Express guy get to go do that? Do people that work at a bank get to leave? I mean, come on. People that drive semis, they get to go pull the semi through the line? No. That's another reason why y'all need somebody that's more of a business person running as sheriffs, because if you got a cop doing that, especially if they're on duty, 1 or 2 hours a day, or wasting each car, they waste an extra tank of gas per week, and there's 37 cars, so 37 tanks of gas times 52 weeks a year, and then extra wear and tear on the tires, the vehicles. I mean, who pays for all that stuff? I get that it could be a perk to drive home and be seen going home and you're there, but once it's home, it should be there. And policy is you're not supposed to have non-police personnel inside the car. And that's another thing that we're polling today. And you could just add a couple zeros to the amount of people polled. It'll still work out the same. A majority of the people don't think they should be doing that. Some do. Some think that it's no big deal that they can do whatever they want whenever they want, you know. But most people do. And most people don't like it. So, there went one of my lights. Can you still see me? All right. Let's see. So you either follow the rules or you don't. Let's see. I think I'm getting ready to get on to, I think I wrapped up all that stuff. I'm going to talk about, for a minute, a few things that I would do. And then you can, tell me if you'd want a sheriff that would concentrate on these very things. Number one on my list is serve the people first. There's nothing more important than serving the people. That's the whole point of an elected position, period. It is not to become a 16-year career. It is not meant to be a career for anybody. It's actually designed for, people in their lives that are doing okay to step up and do their part leading the country. Not supposed to be a career. That's a big part of what's wrong with our country. And there should be term limits. If there's a term limit for a president, why is there not a term limit for every other elected position? I mean, for the same reason there's a term limit on a president. So I don't get that. Number two, protect the people. Protect them. Serve them. More important than busting people is protecting the people. If people got a problem, I need to protect them. Protecting can even be from harassment, stalking, excessive online communications or whatever you want to call it. It's just getting ridiculous that people are committing crimes, bugging everybody all the time, and then they'll go arrest Bonnie for it, but then they won't. Well, I guess that guy did get arrested for it. Idiot. Let's see. Number 3 on my list is honor the oath and protect the Constitution. Okay? That's higher than posting people's pictures on Facebook, okay? Which, that's actually on my list to not do that, but that's not a priority for me. My priority is the damn Constitution, and that's what we need to get back to. Enforce all laws equally for all. Okay? I didn't get equal rights, and I'm actually a victim. So I still can't wrap my head around why this person that doesn't even live here got to steal all this stuff and rip me off and make up all these false accusations and is not in prison right now. I don't understand. And then meanwhile, I lost my over $1 million worth of stuff and a multi-million-dollar business destroyed, and then I'm just supposed to shut up and go away? No. Anyway, let's see, ensure the laws. Okay, here's something that you cannot do. It's probably why John Root didn't know about the people showing the phone for the insurance card. We will take complaints against our employees, the deputies. So if somebody's complaining that somebody's doing something without probable cause or doing this or just being a total dick, I'll investigate it my damn self. I'll probably spend a good part of my day. I'll spend an hour or two a day checking out, or I'll just spend a whole day a week checking body cams, because that's what my job would be to do, is to make sure that everybody else is doing their job the way it's supposed to be done. Oh, and here's a new one. We'll take complaints for crimes without threatening to arrest the people. If somebody wants to come in, like I did 3 times, I've been the sheriff, I was threatened to be arrested all 3 times. If somebody wants to come in and with a big stack of evidence, like 6 inches tall, and maybe they don't want to have to look through that whole thing, and they just want to threaten to arrest them, I mean, that sounds like a civil rights violation, which is a felony. I will not only fire somebody, if they're violating civil rights, it's a felony offense. I don't care if the prosecutor will prosecute or not. I'm going to arrest them if they're breaking the law. And you know what? I'll put their picture on Facebook. How about that? Let's see. Hey, that brings me to something. Would you rather have a sheriff's department that never has any single problems with deputies ever, just perfect, blah, 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 nobody's ever done anything wrong? Or would you rather have a sheriff that fires 2 to 3 people a year and puts them on blast, arrests them if they committed any crimes? I would feel better having a sheriff's department where they arrest a deputy breaking the law. Another reason why you don't want a damn lawman running the sheriff's department. They protect their own. What make more sense, a business owner would make good sense, because running that's like a CEO. I have almost 30 years of running people's businesses and over 20 years of running my own business, where I know all the aspects of every part of the business. I've had more employees working for me than the sheriff's department. Hell, I started a business from scratch for $10,000 in a spare bedroom of a condo in Lexington, and I grew it to a $2.5 million a year company with over $1 million worth of assets. Do you know how many T-shirts $2.5 million is? It's a lot. Let's see. Number 7 on the list: no blasting pigs. Now, I'm not entirely sure how. There's this one guy running for jailer, which I like him better than the other guy, because I've been to the jail and I got thrown in a cell that had turd in the floor drain for 3 days with no, what do they call it? I forgot what they call it. Whatever. They didn't tell me shit for 3 days. And then when I finally got out, somebody pushed the button and you can make the crap go away. So I am not against that guy, or I'm totally against that guy. But it's up to the jailer whether the pictures get released or not. They don't have to do it. The other way is people actually have to do a what do you call it, public request or whatever. And most people won't do that. Otherwise, they would be getting way more requests every day for all the crap that goes on around here. Number 8, help the community. That's a big deal for me right here. Oh, Shannon's got a good one, and I'll get right there. Let me burn through these, and then I'll shoot the crap with y'all here for a minute, as long as y'all want me to. Help the communities. So, there's only so much you could do as sheriff, but, I'm not wanting to target the same damn people that got busted for drugs, so we're going to follow them around so we could bust them for drugs again and bust them for drugs again. I heard one of them say, Laurel County is one of the highest counties where kids are actually living with their grandparents or their aunts or uncles. It's because they don't try to help the damn people. They're trying to take kids away, and oh, damn, they have a grandparent that will take them. That's not what they wanted. They wanted that money. I'll tell you what, I know a great jailer in Woodford County, Michelle Rankin. She does drug rehabilitation programs. She does daddy-daughter dances in the jail. She literally just cares about getting these people back on their feet and never seeing them come in there again unless they're coming to say how well they're doing. To where I get the feeling in Laurel County that jail is just this big money-making machine. And anyway, whatever. Help the communities. Concentrate on real criminals. Okay, as far as crimes go, I mean, for one, protecting the people, that stuff's more important to me than even busting criminals. I want to make sure everybody's okay and protected. But further down the list, I want violent offenders, whether it's sexual predators or people that aggressively fight or threaten other people or intimidate or just cause damage in other people's lives. They're number one on my list. Number two is drug dealers over users every day. I mean, I don't know. I'll try to come up with some program to get the users to start snitching the dealers out. I don't know. I'm not a cop, so I'm going to have to learn a little bit more on how I do that. Which hopefully, if I become sheriff, I guess I should have some deputies and cops working for me that know how to do it. So it'd be my job just make sure that they're doing their job. And then thieves and scammers. I can't stand a thief. Somebody will scam somebody. And there's a lot of that going on. Hell, there's a lot of that going on in your politics. And then not hunting down and, oops, I thought I'd turn that off. Not hunting and preying on everyday people. In all my conversations with all the people, most of the people that I've talked to, maybe I guess I don't really hear from the real criminals. They don't want to talk to me, but a lot of the everyday people that either got a DUI or got busted with a little bit of drugs or something like that, or did a burnout and got arrested and stuff. And most of these people got pulled over for being targeted, even in their own driveway, like pulled in. You can't pull in and come up on somebody's curtilage and search their car when you didn't even have probable cause to stop them in the first place. So we're not going to hunt and prey on people. Probably even knock off them checkpoints. I'm sure there's pretty top areas that we need to be concerned about drunk driving, and I'd say we'll just post up and do that. I'm going to make sure the damn deputies do their job the way that's supposed to be done, not cheating, if you will. And then I guess the last thing, because I don't even want to talk about the council meeting. That was a joke. I don't know. Some of y'all may have seen in the past, I made a joke that I'm going to do y'all remember Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze? The be nice. What if they call my mama, is she? Be nice. Here's the deal, is deputies and law enforcement, they sign up for this job. They know what they're doing. They chose to do it for their profession. So if they're complaining about doing it, they need to go find another job, and they need to quit doing it. So, you know, if they don't like the job, don't do it. Don't take things personally. A big thing that I think a lot of lives get screwed up on and breaks up a lot of families in Laurel County is how they handle domestic violence calls. You know, you got to assume that the person making the call is lying and go out and investigate properly. That's not what they did with me. They just thought that this woman that was using the law as a tool because she knew she couldn't take the property away civilly called and lied and used them as a weapon against me, and it completely ruined my business and disrupted not only my life, my family's life, my son's life, my 3 children's inheritance. I was going to leave a fully functioning multi-million-dollar business that had Amazon orders coming in $1.5 million a year. It didn't take any skill to run that other than just fill the damn orders. So, bam, that's all I got as far as that goes. Let's see. Well, let me check in the comments. I've been popping in there. Anthony Morgan says I should do no sugar, no podcasting since every other candidate. I would still do it. I just don't like the name of their podcast. They should call it something else. Like, let's sit around the fireside chat podcast or something like that. And then, I don't know. But, hey, I get it. They do a good job. I like their podcast. I understand that they can't bash everybody or ask the super hard questions. Otherwise, nobody's going to come on their show. I almost don't want to go on their show for that reason. I'd rather have the hard questions, but I ain't wearing no damn socks on my hands or eating some damn fire jelly bean either. So that little spin the wheel there, I'm going on there to talk about what's going on and be serious. I'm not there. I'm there for business is what I'm there for. So maybe if they all wear socks on their hands, I'll go on their show. Let's see. The mayor. Oh, did y'all see the thing today? Oh, the mayor's pretty bad. Bonnie says Tracy Hanley for mayor. And I got to say, I don't have a mutual deal worked out with her or anything. Like, hey, you support me, I'll support you. But I would highly recommend voting for her because she's just like me. Well, not just like me. Trust me, I'm totally different. But she's like me in the sense of fighting for the people and wanting to fight for transparency. As an elected leader, our obligation is to be transparent with you, the people. It is not to hide things up, sweep it under the rug, and protect the innocent or protect the guilty parties in government. That's not what elected people are supposed to do. And thank God we got elections. So if y'all want it cleaned up, then you better not vote for the same people that you have. Let's see. They wouldn't do crap over a burglary, take an hour or two to get there. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of them just mess around and jack around. I heard that there's a place out in Kiwi that used to be the big hangout for a lot of the cops and all that stuff, including deputies, because at that time, they all got along. None of these people get along anymore. Why would you all want any of these people in there? You get Tracy in there. William Eversaw, judge executive. Man, don't anybody underestimate that man right there. How smart he is and how hard he works. And then also how loyal to the people that he'd be. I mean, he's the only person that would be equal or as loyal to the people. Like, I will cut off our own foot to be honest and straightforward to you. You know, we will confess what we do wrong, and we'll admit it to you, and we'll answer to the people, and we'll do what the people want. A truly good elected official, in my opinion, would do what his voters wanted, not necessarily what he wanted to do. Like a lot of the things John Root does, majority of the people don't want it done like he does it, but he doesn't really care. I care. If I have this one opinion on this one thing, but I felt the majority of my constituents wanted it done differently, I would feel obligated, seeing how I work for them, to do what they want me to do. So that's just what I think. Shannon says, don't arrest people on their own property for public intoxication. They used to be on the regular, like when they'd bust somebody doing shake and bake meth, blah, 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 5 balls. Okay. I once went live 5 hours on Facebook when these people illegally raided my property, threatening to kill me. I reached in and grabbed a bat, and that's the only reason they backed off, because I was about ready to whoop their, yeah. But anyway, Austin Weddle, Deputy Weddle, forced me to have these people on my property and gave them permission to kick in the door, and then they cut a lock off my garage door, and then they never took anything. And then 24 hours, and they did it the night before I had to be at court, so they were catching me off guard. And then, when I went to court the next day, eventually, I got threatened to be arrested again at the sheriff's department for trying to get these people off there, all of which I was told by Detective Reed at the time. I don't know if he's a detective anymore. Everybody changes jobs and switches around so much, it's like they don't know what they're doing. I think somebody should have to work for 10 years before they become a detective, and I don't know. They just hand out positions like candy. But anyway, he eventually made Weddle, not just any deputy that was on duty, he made me wait for another 3 hours, but he eventually made those people get off my property. And it was absolutely ridiculous. All right, do we have any questions for me? Questions, ideas? I'll hang out here for a few minutes. What do you think? My first live video in a year or two? Am I doing all right? I know I'm not getting too bashed in here because I'm going live from the group, and we got most of the people that bash people out. See, there are tax liabilities for a company vehicle used short of just to and from work. See, when it comes to the vehicles, I think that should be a perk for a seasoned, long-term employee. If you haven't worked there for 5 years, I don't think you should be getting a vehicle. If they ain't got money for cameras for all the vehicles, how about we sell half the fleet and rotate vehicles? I mean, do you all not want somebody in there that cares about finances and money, and instead of, we just want more money, so we're just going to go arrest more people? Or do you want people that will cut the budgets down, not have as many cops, not have them praying everywhere? I go through some towns, and it's like we're being hunted. You know, they're everywhere. I mean, innocent people are scared to drive down the road. All right, anyway. So, yeah, Hanley for mayor. Anyone but Jamie Mosley, so that would be, what was that, Bruner? I can't remember his first name. Yep. Yeah, I heard a lot about Mosley. I heard about his wife has a business, they make money, you shouldn't, you know, these jobs are not supposed to be careers where you make money. Bonnie wants accountability and transparency is what I want, honesty. Isn't that what we all want? Do y'all think you're getting transparency? Honesty, accountability. Do you really think it? I can see where this might be fun to do a podcast not totally by yourself, because I'm kind of just talking to myself the whole time. I had a lot to say. I've been waiting. Let's see. All right, anybody got any comments? Robert Bruner, that's it. Oop, he tagged him. I tell you what, I'm for him, but I'd be even more for him. I think he's open to hear what the public has. So I think if the public reaches out to him and said, "Hey, how about not posting the people's pics on there?" He said he'd look into it. I think he's a little bit concerned about open records requests. That's what I was trying to think of a minute ago. Sorry, a lot racing through my head here. I think I'm getting over the nervousness of doing the live. I could use the air conditioner. Anybody got any questions for me? Let's see. I'm scrolling up to see if I can find any. What's up, Tessa? Shannon, Bonnie. Y'all, hey, just say hi. Hey, Rick, if you're up in here. My lives keep dropping out. What's that mean? My live's not staying very consistent? Somebody said that. I'm reading comments right now. Okay. Oh, yeah, Anthony. How about John? Hey, Denton. John Root sign says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you know what? For him, it's not broke. I mean, he is annoyed at all this social media bullcrap, where people have a voice. They've been pretty good at silencing people. Everybody knows they've been silencing people, and I know they hate that anonymous feature in our group. But, oh well. Yeah, I can't wait to get back, Bonnie. I won't be too long, and I'll be back there. I'm forced down here, living at a campground next to Tacos, liquor store, and having to go riding all the time. But I'll be back soon. Let's see. And I've been kind of waiting to really start publicly talking, just because I'm going to campaign pretty hardcore from here on out till I guess we got a little over 4 weeks. And I just didn't know if I had it in me to do it for 60 straight days like it needs to be done. I think it's more important to hear the message. I guess I can ask all of you watching the video now, and I'm hoping that some people will watch the video a little later. I hope that y'all want me to do the job. I hope that you want... I'd be willing to participate in a debate with other candidates. Absolutely. And I will be... give me about a week or two, and I'll be all over London everywhere. I'm handling that warrant thing, and I don't really want to talk about it. It's unconstitutional. It shouldn't be there, but it's an ongoing thing, and it's illegal that I have it. But I don't want to spill my cards that I got and tell you what's up with that. But just know that it's bullshit, and it will be gone very soon. So, yeah, I'll debate. I will see if Mr. Root wants to debate after I just spent an hour and a half smearing him or calling him out. I mean, have you all been in for this whole time? I mean, was I really that out of line for calling that stuff out? Don't you all want to hear the answers to those questions, to hear the answers to the shark videos? Because it seems like anytime you ask a serious question to any of these guys, whether it be Grimes or any of them, it's funny because they make jokes about how easily we ban people out. But it seems to me like they're pretty good at banning people out just for asking questions. We only boot people out for fake profiles, harassing and stalking people for speaking up. And then sometimes it's just clear that they're just here to argue. And this isn't... let's argue in Laurel County. It's justice. If you're not for fighting for justice and you're not for corruption, then this group's just not for you. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody posted a photo link. I can't click on it because it'd probably take me out of the live. I'll talk about this until I hear any other questions pop up. Y'all want to hear a little background about me, who I am, and my experience that would make me qualified to be sheriff? I'll give you a little background like they do in the Super Sugar Coated podcast. Let's see, when I was about 18 or 19, I bought one of the Sir Pizza restaurants back in 1996, and I ran it in Georgetown and one in Harrodsburg Road. I had two. I was buying them from the owner, Hossein Dalshed. I don't know if y'all had Sir Pizza up there. It's good to the very edge. I didn't... the DARE program could be a good program, but the problem is... I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the DARE program since I was in middle school, so all I did was print the shirts, and the shirts look pretty good. But I think just having an officer, maybe it'd be me. Maybe I, as sheriff, need to go in there and do the DARE program and explain drugs and do it in such an entertaining way that I can connect with the kids. But just like sex ed and stuff, they need that education. Every single kid in the county, and maybe if not DARE, maybe we can create our own DARE program. But why not support a nationwide program, and then who knows, maybe we can help the program out. But Bonnie remembers that Sir Pizza. Anyway, after learning that the restaurant business, you work 90 hours a week, and even if you make a lot of money, it comes out to a low hourly wage. So I ended up getting into home improvement, selling windows and siding, and I was very successful at it. So I started making a boatload of money when I was 18 years old in 1996, 97. I was doing pretty good. And then, so I did that for a few years. And after I had my stepdaughter was born in 98 and my daughter was born in 2000. And probably about the time she was born is when I started taking my management roles in 2000. I think when I was like 20 years old, I was managing like 45 sales reps. And you want to talk about managing something hard, manage some sales reps on commission only, that think they know it all, that think they're God's gift to the world. And then imagine being 22 years old, 21 years old, trying to manage people in their 40s and 50s. But I pulled it off. I gave them the good leads and said, hey, work it out. And then I went on to be trained nationwide. I ran multiple sales offices. I once got recruited by one of them. You ever hear of a headhunter where they'll come pack all your stuff up out of the house for you? And they moved me to New Jersey to start a sales office from scratch. And just ran a small sales office where we did like $250,000 a year in windows and siding. And then I ended up starting my own business. What do I call it? Garden State Remodeling. It's a good name. Everybody heard of it because it's the Garden State. So I did that for a few years. I lived out there shortly after the 9/11. So I was pretty crazy seeing that while it was still a pile of heap. And the smell was horrible. And then, so then I ended up going on to do my own company, and then I started running my own. Well, I ended up working for this one company that was almost going out of business, and I rebranded the whole company. I was put in charge of the whole company. We had about 60, 70 employees, and changed the name, did all that stuff. Hell, I was like 26 years old, made like $250,000. I was living large and all that stuff. And then, actually, the house I was living in, my daughter got sick. It was mold. I was living in this huge house where I could see the Empire State Building from my couch in the wintertime. So I ended up moving back to Pennsylvania to try to help my dad's property out, try to get a company going there. Western Pennsylvania, southeast of Pittsburgh. It's a very impoverished area, not necessarily the best market for windows and siding and stuff. I come back down here. I ended up working for my brother. I ended up helping him run a limousine company and worked for his printing company. He's the one that's got the Tasmanian Devil boat running around Laurel Lake. And he's been bringing me to Laurel County since the 90s, riding boats and jet skis and four-wheelers and stuff like that. And then he started a limousine company. Matter of fact, those 3 limousines that you see on 25, there's a Hummer, a Chrysler 300, and a Lincoln. I swear to God, those are the 3 limos that I used to run back in the day on the I don't even know what you call the 00s. It was like 07 or 08. And then in 08, man, I started my own company, which started as a different company name. And then a year later, I made it Shirt Warehouse. I wasn't my first narcissist I had to deal with, but should have learned my lesson the first time. But anyway, so I started a business from scratch. I ran it 16 straight years. The first 5 years, it was literally just me. I was in those Peddler Mall flea markets that are in Frankfort, Lexington, Georgetown, Richmond, Fern Creek, Clarksville, Indiana. I had up to 21 of them, and I just printed shirts, put them in there one week, and print shirts the next week. I did all that, and then I ended up getting a bigger shop. Ended up printing for Maker's Mark, University of Kentucky, Nike. There's some fashion brands that you never heard of across the world. X-Large brand, they're not in the U.S., but they're in Macau and China and other places. So I ran big budgets, and I started a company from scratch, from nothing, and built it into a $2.5 million a year company, and I was doing just fine. I moved to Lilly as a kind of a retirement. I was renting a building that was like 12,000 square foot building. I was renting it for over a decade. I spent over $500,000 in rent. So I wanted to buy my own property and have my house and my building. So I ended up pulling off a few miracles, man. Got down here, found a property that had a double wide and had a 30 by 40 building on it. And then I never done it before, but boy, I had a 8,500 square foot building down at the old South Old Whitley Road. It's a brand new building. Moved all my stuff in there, was recovering. And then I don't want to get too much into my story because it will all be coming out before you know it. But I got ripped off, done wrong, robbed, after I built all that property and did all that. Somehow, not only did I get robbed from all the money kicked off the property illegally, I also got robbed of everything I own. And I didn't own that with anybody. I was a single owner of the business, and the person I was only with them for a year and a half. So how they got all my stuff when they refused to give it to me, and I had a shop all set up. But anyway, you guys will learn one thing, is that I haven't lied about anything. They call me a liar. They say this, smear this. No, I'm speaking the truth. They've arrested me, for crimes that never happened. They put me through hell. I've been living in an RV for a couple years until I moved back to London in October of last year. I did that specifically so I could run for sheriff. When I come down here I was there every single day. Didn't go anywhere because I'm afraid to go anywhere in Laurel County because they do target you. But it was coincidental that I come down here to pick up my RV and take it up there, and that was the day they came out. So, and I'm still handling that. I've been through numerous attorneys, and I finally got the right attorney. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I've committed no crimes. That would be the third time I've been to jail, even though I haven't committed any crime. Do you all like going to jail if you haven't done anything? I doubt it. All right. Anybody got anything else? Y'all just listening to me? Any comments, questions? Anything y'all want to tell me? Y'all tired of watching it? All righty. Hey, at least drop me some hearts real quick if you want me to do this again and talk about other stuff. Maybe I can pull up and have the what's going on in the group rolling in the background, and we can talk about what's going on. I mean, do you really think there's a voice for the people out there? You got that one crazy lady that just loves the mayor, and these podcasts are just kissing butt to everybody. And like I said, it's no diss on them. I get that they got to do it. But don't y'all want somebody to just regularly call out everything and let y'all know? I see some hearts there. All right, well, I am Rick Coffman. I'm number 3 on the ballot. I've approved this message, seeing how I'm the one that gave it to you. May 19th, come on out and vote for me. Anybody watching this video later, say, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's leave some comments in there. I appreciate it if anybody shares it. I think there's some good information. It's the first time that I've actually had open dialogue with everybody. So on that note, I will see you all later. Maybe.